of the founder, this part points to both. I just have to point to it. What points to a woman appearing in the orb? This. There's a legend about the orb involving a mysterious riddle. And this song in turn is said to contain the key to solving it. If the legend is true, then I believe the answer lies in this part of the song. Offer thy prayers as fervent as fire, only then shall the Holy Mother return. Well, anyone see where I'm going with this? I get the feeling I'm wrong. Prayers as fervent as fire. Ah! You're supposed to set the orb on fire. Okay, no, I'm correct. Good. The whole stanza seems to suggest that the founder will appear if the orb is set on fire. Wait, so the Doctor, he... Yes, Athena. He had solved the ancient riddle of the Founder's Orb. Oh my. Papa was a great archaeologist, so I believe in him. And I want to believe he achieved his long-time dream of solving that riddle before he died. Well, we won't know for sure, until we try it for ourselves. Yes, do it, Private Justice, please. I want to see what Papa was searching for with my own eyes. The plaintiff must object to this. The plaintiff will stand down and be quiet. Ooh. You don't have the right to set a precious relic like that on fire. Are we gonna slam the desk too? Ah. Oh, but I do. All I needed was Sarge's permission. Since we still don't know if this treasure is the Founder's Orb or the Crystal of Army Fae. Any ownership rights the Doctor had now belong to his daughter. Therefore, you have absolutely no right to stop us. Oof. Very well, Mr. Justice. I never thought I'd be saying this, but you may burn the evidence. Alright, here we go. Surely this would just prove that it's the Founder's Orb, right? This is a pretty cool cinematic. Hot damn. What the fuck? Look. Follow the inside of the orb. It's melting. Oh! There's something in there. It's the Holy Mother. She has a face! Dirk, isn't she... Her garb leaves no room for doubt. It's the Founder herself. Face and all. I'm gonna say, whenever she's depicted anywhere, she doesn't have a face. I don't understand. The greatest of taboos in Kyrienism is the depiction of the Founder's face. And yet here it is. Hidden within this orb. Heating the Founder's Orb will reveal the statue within. There's no room for doubt. Sorry, Mr. Wright, but as you can see, the issue is crystal clear. This figure is the Holy Mother, founder of the Kyrienism. And based on that, this must be none other than the Founder's Orb. Be that as it may, Mr. Arabelle still may have killed the Doctor. If so, it would render the orb transfer agreement null and void. Don't play dumb, Mr. Wright, the truth of the matter has already been proven. Dr. Buff wasn't killed right after Sarge saw Mr. Arabelle. It happened after the Doctor came back from hiding the orb. And you've no proof that Mr. Arabelle was still around at that time. It's quite weird to see Phoenix be speechless, unless we're the one playing as him, then he's always speechless. Your claim that the Defiant Dragons were behind the crime doesn't hold water. And that means the orb transfer agreement is still perfectly valid. Admit it, Mr. Wright. I just burned your whole case to the ground. Ooh. Poor Mr. Wright. Oh, and there's what's his face? Dickhead. That's his name. I won? I actually won? Mr. Wright, would you care to respond? Respond? I didn't think so. Wait, did we just win? Did we actually beat the Turnabout Terror? You're amazing, Apollo. Don't just stand there, right? Do something. Well, I don't think there's any digging out of this hole. Mr. Attention Wimperson, I think it's time for your concession speech. I have proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that this is the Founder's Orb. The facts don't lie, but you obviously do. How's that for a campaign slogan? Why, you contemptuous peasant. I think this is a good time to wrap up this trial. If both parties have no further objections, I will render my verdict. No objections here, Your Honor. No oh. Wait. Oh. You can't do this. The crystal is mine. I'll lose the election if I lose that crystal. I'm sorry, but there's really nothing more I can do. You haven't forgotten about our little chat, have you? Ooh. Wait. Was he forced into this? Like blackmail or something? What's going on here? Your Honor, I object to the defense's last claim. That would explain why he's so cold with everything. If he has something very important on the line. I don't know, I'm just kind of assuming. It sounds like he's threatening him. You haven't forgotten about our little chat. What? I don't believe they have truly proven that the relic is indeed the Founder's Orb. Oh, really? My arse. Mr. Wright, I don't think even you could bluff your way out of this one. What possible argument could you have to claim that this isn't the Founder's Orb? Oh god, I got the hiccups. About that. Oh, of course. He can't possibly have hit on something. The defense's assertion is incomplete, and this is why. The defense is basing their claim that this relic is the Founder's Orb on a legend, and that legend claims that the Founder will return when the riddle is solved at last. Right, and that's what happened. The Founder was revealed for all to see. But Mr. Justice, what about the rest of the legend? Huh? According to the legend, once the Founder returned, she would bestow a spiritual power onto the person who solved the riddle. You're kidding, right? Well, Mr. Justice, do you feel great spiritual power coursing through your veins? No. But receiving spiritual powers and stuff is all just mystic mumbo-jumbo, right? Maybe so, but you're the one basing your claim on said legend. And what we saw here does not fully fulfill it, does it? No, but... consequently, you cannot rightfully claim that this is the Founder's Orb. Oh my. What a flimsy counter. He's asleep. Whatever. Is it just gonna be a unanimous what? What's gone into him? Why is Mr. Wright doing this? It would appear that Mr. Wright has lost a few marbles. Or a few of his marbles. That couldn't be further from the truth, Your Honor. In any case, I believe this is a good time for a recess. Both sides will have 20 minutes to prepare. Again? I ask that all arguments be ready by then. Okay. Oh, Mr. Wright, you do well to wash up and find your missing marbles by then too. Oof. Poor guy. Defendant lobby number 3 again. Mr. Wright is sure. Would that not be Mr. Wright sure is acting funny? Is sure acting funny? I mean, both work, I suppose. I mean, he's famous for going out on a limb, but that last assertion was just plain crazy. It's either a bluff or a Hail Mary. Either way, it doesn't make much sense. Maybe there's something we're missing here. Oh, Trucy's back. Although he seemed perfectly normal when we spoke earlier. Boom, boom. Apollo, I have a bad feeling about this. I'm going to go check up on him. What's going on with you, Mr. Wright? Hey, Private Justice. Oh, Sarge. I forgot to mention something. But on the night of Papa's murder, a strange thing happened. Oh? But why are you only telling me about it now? Well, I didn't say anything before because I thought Papa's death was an accident. But now that we know otherwise, I figured it might be important. There's still more to this case? Yep. When I left my room and lost consciousness, I passed out right there, or right here. That's right above the coffee bar. But when I came to, someone was pushing my wheelchair. What? I was so scared I beat a hasty retreat, as fast as my wheels could take me. Do you know who it was? No, it was pitch black. Plus, I fled to my room so fast I didn't even have a chance to turn on the lights. Maybe it was your father. No, he would have said something to me. Besides, I'd have known if it was him. So then, it could have been your father's real killer? My thoughts exactly. But you didn't report this to the police. It didn't even occur to me. Well, I suppose that's fair. Yeah. Would have been too scared to. It's okay, you're obviously still upset, so don't beat yourself up over it. Apollo, this could be really important information. I think the act of pushing Sarge's wheelchair could be part of some bigger scheme. It's hard to see why else the killer would have done such a thing. Guess I should take her statement down as evidence. So, Army's statement, added to the court record. She'd fled to her room when she realised someone had moved her while she'd been unconscious on the second floor. Well, there we go. Oh, welcome back, Athena. Ooh. What happened? What's with the long face? How'd it go with Mr. Wright? What should I... Athena? Oops, sorry. Zoned out there for a second. Oh, for a sec. The recess is almost over, so let's go. Okay. What was that all about? Okay. Not good. That was definitely not a good reaction, that's for sure. Goddamn, they're going crazy. Alright, court is once again back in session. Now, Mr. Wright, about that last objection you raised. We, the plaintiff, still believe that the defence has yet to sufficiently prove its case. They claim that, according to legend, the Founder's Orb would bestow spiritual power. Yet the relic in question has failed to do so. Therefore, it has failed its own test. I see. He's sticking with that ridiculous argument. Furthermore, even if it is the Founder's Orb, it can't be awarded to the Defiant Dragons. After all, they were the ones who killed Dr. Buff. But they didn't. What are you talking about? That was already proved to be false, or proven to be false. There were no grounds for asserting that the Defiant Dragons murdered the Doctor. Oh, but I'm afraid there are, Mr. Justice. Your Honour, I would like to present new testimony to this court. Kaboom! Testimony that will show that Dat Arabelle did in fact kill Dr. Buff. What? Very well. You may call your witness. I guess Mr. Wright found another new angle. What new testimony could there be this late in the game? Fuck knows. I was about to say, what? Hey, Dickhead's back. Fellow citizens, it is I, Dickhead. Politician. The once and future representative of the people. The once. Okay. Geez, not him again. My client divulged new information to me during the recess. I obeyed it. He remembered something he saw, you see. Something crucial to this case. How very convenient. Great. So it's probably just nothing but made-up shite. That's his crime. Alright. It was around 11 at night, and I was out on a mobile meet and greet around the village. That's when I saw Dr. Buff being murdered from outside his study window. Mr. Arabelle snuck up from behind and struck him on the head. Okay, so he failed to mention any of this earlier. But when he's losing, now he brings it up. His weapon of choice? A suitcase. A big strong man like him could easily swing a heavy suitcase into someone's head. I'm not so sure. You saw the murder as it happened? And you're just telling us now because... I saved the best for last. It's a tactic known to all the political greats. The murder weapon was a complete mystery. But my client's eyewitness account has finally brought it into the light. According to the autopsy report, Dr. Buff was struck in the head by the corner of some object. I suppose that could very well be the corner of a suitcase. But eyewitness testimony isn't the same as hard evidence. Oh. I wouldn't worry about that if I were you. What's that supposed to mean? We have physical evidence too. A luminol test revealed. Of course. The doctor's blood on Mr. Arabelle's suitcase. Really? But how does that prove Mr. Arabelle used it as a weapon? You should know the answer to that, Mr. Justice. Since you know as well as I that the suitcase is covered in his fingerprints. I forgot we dusted it right in front of Emma. It looks like his placard is backwards. And it looks like you can see it from this side too. It's probably got two. Like both sides will have his name on it. The turnabout terror strikes again. This is quite convincing testimony and evidence. Nevertheless, you may proceed with your cross-examination, Mr. Justice. Yay! Boop, 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 boop. So that's his crime. Oh, we're getting to the final. It was around 11 at night, and I was out on a mobile meet and greet around the village. You want a so-called mobile meet and greet at 11 at night? That's right. It's the perfect time because everyone is at home. You should have seen how the villagers' eyes teared up when they heard what I had to say. With tears of frustration, no doubt. You weren't riding around in your... what? Palanquin? That's right. Some village idiot reported me to the police. I've been banned from using it after dark. No wonder. What with all the noise he makes. So what exactly did you see then? That's when I saw Dr. Buff being murdered from outside his study window. I don't trust any word he is spouting. Sounds like you witnessed something rather shocking. Indeed. I didn't even believe it at first. I mean, a vicious murder in Karine? There haven't been many murders there, I take it. Actually, technically there has. If I'm elected, I promise you that such a terrible tragedy will never happen again. A vote for me is a vote to banish murder forever from our beloved Karine village. Yeah, good luck with that. Mr. Attorney Wimperson, please tell the court what you saw at the scene of the crime. Mr. Arabelle snuck up from behind and struck him on the head. Okay. He snuck up from behind? So you're saying the doctor never even realised Mr. Arabelle was there? That's right. He was utterly absorbed in a book. I see. What did you see... Oh, what did you see Mr. Arabelle do next? He climbed up the bookshelf ladder and dumped a bunch of books down on the body. I believe he was trying to make it look like an accident. But that idiot didn't realise I could see everything from outside the window. One of those statements doesn't feel right. Your Honor, I believe the witness made an important statement just now about how... So what's this? Ah. Wait, how would that have worked? So you're saying the doctor never even realised Mr. Arabelle was there? He was utterly absorbed in a book. He climbed up the bookshelf. Oh! He was absorbed in a book and then he was dead. An important statement about how Dats is an idiot. The doctor was reading a book. The doctor was reading a book at the time of the murder. That's vital testimony. Very well, the witness will please add that statement to his testimony. The doctor was standing in front of the bookshelves, absorbed in a book. Oh wait, no, he couldn't have. He's not got his glasses. That's what I'm going with. Yeah, I was gonna say, can we pick those up? There we go, the doctor's poor eyesight meant that he couldn't read anything without these. They were found on his desk. Perfect. Right, so... Gotcha! The doctor was standing in front of the bookshelves, absorbed in a book, you say? I'm sorry, but it seems your testimony is completely unreliable. That's quite a bold statement. Well, let's hear you back it up. I challenge you to prove that I'm anything but 100% reliable. Okay. It would be my pleasure. Lately, it seems the doctor's eyes had gotten so bad he needed reading glasses. However, his reading glasses were over on his desk. So you see, there's no way he could have been reading in front of the bookshelves. Ooh! Oh no, he broke his thing again. I'm sorry, Mr. Atisham Wimperson, but... I'm going to have to ask you to explain this discrepancy to the voting public. You what? I'll explain it, you lowly cur. I simply made a mistake, you see. The doctor was actually sitting at his desk when Mr. Arabelle hit him over the head. But then the doctor would have been facing him. Surely he would have seen him and tried to run. Dr. Buff was nodding off. I could tell because his eyes were closed, and he wasn't moving. Sounds more like what you would do. Then how do you explain the fact that he was struck in the back of the head? Isn't that something that should be impossible from the front of the desk? Oh, about that. He bowed his head when he nodded off. That's when he was clobbered. So that's what you saw. Well, Mr. Justice, that sounds like a perfectly reasonable explanation to me. Yes, perfectly reasonable and full of holes. Perfect. Do you have a problem with the proposal that the doctor was struck while nodding off? Yes. A big problem. There is a problem. A very big problem. The witness's statement doesn't hold up under the slightest bit of scrutiny. Is that so? Then will you please show this court what evidence you have to justify this? Gladly, Your Honor. This shows the problem with the witness's claim that he saw the doctor nodding off. It's the study. He wouldn't have been able to see him. Because he'd be behind a bookshelf. A diagram of the study. Mr. Atisham Wimperson allegedly viewed the murder from... here. And the doctor was allegedly nodding off... here. But from his vantage point, the bookcase would have blocked the witness's line of sight. Why yes, I believe you're right. But... Uh-oh. The fact remains my client knew that the suitcase was the murder weapon. So he definitely has first-hand knowledge of the crime scene. I'm afraid I have to agree with you there, Mr. Wright. But then we have to ask ourselves, from what vantage point did he see the murder? What are you insinuating, Mr. Justice? From what vantage point could Mr. Titian Wimperson have seen the dozing doctor? Once we determine that, I believe we'll finally see the truth behind this incident. The witness saw the murder from right here. Oh. Can I just point anywhere? Oh wait. Given what Army said, I'm just gonna point to the hallway. You've gotta be kidding. But that's... It is indeed. But everything only makes sense if the witness was there in the study. Inside the study, but that's the scene of the crime. I know. Mr. Titian Wimperson, the man who claims to be a witness to the murder, was most certainly in that very room. Apollo, are you suggesting... that he did it? Yeah. Mr. Titian Wimperson. Weren't you the one who actually swung that suitcase? Ooh. What you're proposing is ludicrous. My client is a small thin man, whereas Mr. Arabelle has the musculature to pull it off. He has a point. I gave up trying to lift that thing after one go. That's right. He's the only one who could have lifted such a heavy object. Now do you understand? The rebel Dance Arabelle is the doctor's killer. As long as the suitcase is the murder weapon, the suspicion falls entirely on Dance. You'll have to poke a hole in Mr. Wright's argument somehow, Apollo. No, I will. And with his own technique, no less. If Mr. Titian Wimperson couldn't swing the suitcase around, we'll just have to consider another way he could have used it as a murder weapon, instead. I'm going to turn this case on its head, Mr. Wright. Just like you taught me. You talk big, Mr. Justice, but do you have what it takes? Do you got the stones? Well, that should be interesting. Mr. Titian Wimperson's testimony has been filled with one inaccuracy after another. First he stated Dr. Buff was in front of the bookshelves. Now he claims that the doctor was sitting at his desk. So where was the victim really when he was killed? Also, where was his killer? And how was the murder weapon really used? So the important thing here is the position of the victim and the killer relative to each other. Yes, Your Honor. If they were positioned in a certain way, it would be possible to use the suitcase as a weapon without lifting a finger. You can't mean... I would ask the court to recall the study's layout. The coffee bar. It's quite distinctive, as you can see. Now, if Dr. Buff was sitting in a certain spot, and his killer was at a certain other spot, the suitcase would become a weapon anyone could use. Very well, Mr. Justice. Where was Dr. Buff's killer at the time of the crime? So he pushed the suitcase off. Or dropped it off. It's the hallway. There? Oh, that's... This should wrap things up nice and pretty for you, Mr. Wright. I would ask the court to recall the study's layout. Again. But this time, instead of thinking in 2 dimensions, ooh, we're going 3D. Let's think in 3. Only then can we clearly see the killer's method at work. Ooh. Oh god, it looks so good. There it is. The killer didn't have to swing the suitcase. They merely had to push it. Ah, this is cool. If he used gravity to his advantage, that is. That's right. It was the plaintiff, one Paul Titian Wimperson, who used the suitcase. He pushed it from the 2nd floor. Whee! Conk. Sent it hurtling down into Dr. Buff, who was sitting at the coffee bar. Are they gonna ask, like, how do you know he was at the coffee bar? To which I'll be like, this evidence. The psychology book had been at the coffee bar, no doubt. The doctor must have set it down there, after he'd finished reading it, or the like. But his blood got on it, which is why the killer thought to hide it in that mountain of books. That's quite an entertaining theory you have there, Mr. Justice. But there's no evidence that the murder took place at the coffee bar. Oh, really? I'm not so sure about that, Mr. Wright. I'd say that evidence of the murder occurring at the coffee bar does exist. The evidence does exist, and I'm going to show you. You are? Yeah, it's right fucking... plain and center. Wait, that's not the thing. That's not a phrase at all. But it's on show. This right here is proof that the murder took place at the coffee bar. There we go. Coffee on the book. Da-na-na-na.